us your thoughts on the road trip and the way you guys were able to handle your business out in Western Canada and then finish it up in Seattle.
Yeah, I feel like we maybe didn't play our best hockey the whole road trip, but to get the points shows how good of a team we are, and good teams maybe win when they don't play at the best too. So yeah, I saw some stats that it was a long time Red Wings won on road trip 4-4. So yeah, that's huge.
What's the confidence level of this group right now? Obviously, one more game before the Four Nations break, but what's been going well about the way you guys have been playing?
I feel like just the game, like how the boys are playing right now. Like we're playing hard, fast, like Todd always wanted us to do. I feel like it's connecting right now, and I feel like when you win a couple of games, the confidence gets higher and higher, and it's a lot more fun to play.
There's a lot of guys who have some Grand Rapids Griffins track records here in this room contributing, like yourself included. How encouraging is it to see a lot of the young guys, including yourself, make those strides, and when a lot of you have kind of grown up in the ranks together?
Yeah, of course, I think that's a big achievement for the organization as well. Like these days you build your team around draft picks and how to develop the young guys, and I feel like here we have done a great job so far. So and then it's so fun to play when you play with those guys in Griffins and now play here in Detroit. It's really fun.
And what do you assess of your season so far? You're contributing at a high level too, and kind of where are the areas you're looking to continue growing in?
Yeah, I feel like my overall game has been pretty good whole season, but now and then I get rewarded with it too, and of course that's helped the confidence grows higher too, and it's always fun to help the team with points and goals.
Thanks, Berggren.
Yeah, I'm feeling good. It's felt really good in practice today. Ready to get back to it.
You finished that game. Was it something that kind of set in the next day, or?
Yeah, felt pretty good the rest of the game, and then just something that obviously knocked me out for a little bit, and I feel like we did a good job getting back into the swing of things, and good to have these two practices at home to, before I hopefully get out there.
Were you able to skate at all during the trip by yourself?
Yeah, I was skating during the trip, and I'm starting to feel a bit better as the trip went along.
Anything stood out to you about Elmer? He's been in a handful of games now. I know you've missed the last few, but just watching him in general. Yeah,
he's been good. He's been strong on the puck, and he's got pretty good speed for his size and physicality, and pretty nice touch around the net. That goal, I was talking to him actually after the game. It's a really hard pickup on your backhand. It was kind of right in his triangle, and he did a good job settling in and getting under the bar. So, a lot of, as I've watched throughout the trip, a lot of different guys chipped in and played well, and that's how you get on win streaks like this.
We just talk about this win streak. I mean, what do you point to? What do you think's the key to how you guys turn it around here?
Yeah, obviously, I'm not in the locker room for games and playing the game, so it's hard to know for sure. But from what I've seen is just guys buying in and doing the little things, and you see guys throughout the lineup, checking the right way and playing the right way. And even when it's not perfect, I think these guys would say the road trip wasn't perfect. Finding ways to secure points and giving yourself a chance in overtime, and sometimes you don't know if you're going to win in a shootout or not, but giving yourself a chance and playing well, late in game situations is, the team did a really good job of that.
When you're not actually on the ice, you're watching from above, does it give you a little bit of a different perspective about what it is this team does, what it is they maybe need to work on?
Yeah, it's just a different view. I think that you're able to slow it down up top. I think when you're in the game, it feels a little bit faster than it does when you're sitting in the stands. And I know why my parents always tell me what to do is because it looks a little easier when you're watching. But I think that the team has been playing really well, and it's been fun to watch. And I'm excited to get back out there and hopefully join them.
We're a little over a month into the McLellan era, having been here in Detroit. Can you just describe what Todd is, not just as a coach when he interacts with players, but as a person interacting with players?
I think he's, he loves this. He loves hockey. He loves the challenge. I think that's something I noticed about him right away. Is he's not going to shy down from the challenge, and he does a good job of pushing that on us too, and making sure guys are, whether things are going good or bad, making sure that we're looking ahead and challenging ourselves to be even better. I think in the last year there were times where we played well, or we've won games, weren't playing quite as good, and we maybe got a little bit stagnant. I don't think Todd's going to let that happen.
Yesterday, NHL executives saying they're going to be sticking to Ohio State's traditions when it comes to bringing the horseshoe for hockey. As a Michigan guy, any thoughts on?
They're going to do what? Sorry.
Sticking to Ohio State's traditions, and kind of keeping the spirit of Ohio State hockey here when you're going down there to play against Columbus. Just kind of thoughts of the former going down to play.
Yeah, it'll be super fun. It's going to be great to play in front of that crowd, and I think it's cool that there's so many Michigan guys that get to play in that game. Definitely kind of ironic.
Did you beat us back?
Yeah, I did. Because I got up at 3 a.m. and de-iced the plane myself.
Todd, has this start for you, has this been even better than you could have hoped or imagined?
Well, the obvious answer is yes, but when you come in, it's hard to imagine or predict what might happen. You haven't been around people. You don't know what the environment's like. You think you know players because you've watched them on TV, but that's not where you really learn about them. You get to know them in practice and on the bench and their emotional level. So, trying to predict or trying to gauge where it might all go is almost impossible. You just come in and do your thing and react more than anything.
Do you think, has there been enough time, do you think that you could put your finger on what the identity of this team is now under you?
We're getting pretty close, I think. I may be coughing all day here. I think we can skate. I think we can play with pace. Combine that with checking for chances and taking pride in that. Seems to be how we're rolling out wins. So is that where we're going? Seems to be, but we need a little more time.
Along those lines, trying to peel back the layers of what's changed. We can see you're more aggressive, you're more energetic, less time in the defensive zone, more time in the offensive zone, more shooting when you get there. What structurally did you change to get to that place? In layman's terms, I know you're not going to give us the X and O.
Well, we changed forecheck, we've changed penalty kill, we do some things different in the neutral zone. The D zone coverage, there's parts of the game. It's not the whole five guys zooming all over the place. There's areas or certain points of emphasis in the D zone, but not dramatic changes. Not just take a paintbrush and paint over everything. Just small adjustments. Players understand our language now too, so we can fix things quicker. We can do it verbally instead of having to show video or whatever. Our F3 coaches talk. Our F3 isn't above. You're flat, you're not above. That means something to the players now. Words create a little picture in their head, and you don't have to take a whole bunch of time, and it can get fixed. So that's maybe as important as all the changes in the system stuff.
You've had a few games with Elmer now. What's he done to keep staying in the lineup?
Oh, he's played really well. It's probably the simplest way of putting it. When you think about Elmer, you think about it, can he use his size? He's a big man. There's different ways of using his size. When you talk like that, you think of these big hits and all that type of stuff, and he does do that. But he uses his size so effectively when he hunts pucks down. Players might be skating away from him. They might be a step or two faster, but out comes this long hook, and they can't skate through that. It's off your tape, and he's got it again. And a sponge. He's really come in and been willing to learn. He's confident.
So the goal and example too, just that enormous reach, putting that to good use, or putting that.
Yeah, both of his goals have basically been the same thing. Big man with good hands around the net.
Well, in addition to Elmer, just all the young players, just the growth that you've seen in them, the Casper, Soderblom, all these guys, just how important have their contributions been during this whole run?
Well, we don't get the results we've had without them doing what they're doing right now. But that doesn't just happen. The older players play a role in it. I was listening and I heard Patty Kane say, you know what, some of our leaders came by on the bench and he mentioned Mo Sider. That's got to make Mo Sider feel so good that Patrick Kane, who could be the complete alpha on this team, is willing to let Mo Sider lead. He's not stepping aside, he's still accepting his role. But when the veterans accept the kids for who they are and the kids live up to their bargain or their end of the deal, it can be powerful. And I said this maybe on the road trip, that doesn't always happen. It does not. Right now the kids have earned it, the veterans are participating in it, and we're not a young team, we're not an old team, we're a team.
And speaking of Sider, I mean, he had a milestone game the other night, his 300th, and just plays every game, logs the most minutes in every situation. Just how important is it for a team to have that kind of anchor on defense?
Not many teams. A lot of teams do, but at that age and that competitiveness, he can play the game any way you want to play it. Physical, cerebral, skill. He's a very competitive guy. That I don't know if you stayed for practice, that game we played at the end, the two individuals in the middle. Rarely, that's hard, it's taxing. Players don't understand it until they get in there, all that moving around. And so you're in it the first time, you're probably not going in it the second time. Usually you're pushing somebody else in, it's your turn. Mo went twice. He just likes to be in that. He likes to be in that wrestling around battle mode, and speaks volumes of him.
How do you manage this sort of unusual moment in the schedule as far as coming back from the high of the road trip and then a couple days between games, but just one before the break?
Well, it's one, but it's obviously an important one. And, you know, all the stuff that we've done to this point today, it'll either end and we'll leave with a sour taste in our mouth for 2 weeks, or we can play a real hard game. I don't know if we'll win or lose. Play a real hard game, competitive game, and feel pretty good about coming back. So that'll be a little bit of a poke for the guys. Rest yesterday. I know how I feel. A lot of guys are sniffling and coughing and doing all that type of stuff, so health will be important. And then once that buzzer goes on Saturday, turn it off. Go. It's been stressful for a lot of players here and a lot of staff, and you know, during the year, the team to go through what it's gone through, it takes a lot out of you mentally and physically, but mentally as much as anything.
Todd, you guys are playing so well. It's like, boy, I'd like to keep this going right now, you think, or just being off for 2 weeks?
That's what Saturday's for.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, well, then you ask me after on Saturday and I'll give you the answer. I think Saturday is our opportunity to keep it going. And then if you asked me Saturday, if we kept it going, I'd probably tell you I wish we were still playing. But we haven't got to the break yet. And I think that's what I want the players to understand. You know, you give yourself permission just because things have gone well. And maybe the emotion when you come back will be gone from a Tampa Bay game. That's not how it's going to be. You give us a good, honest one and come back and we'll pick up where we left off. But so that'll be the approach.
Is JT possible for Saturday?
Yes, he is.
He's cleared, or?
Yeah. So yes and no. In my mind, he's cleared. He's out there skating around. I don't know if the medical staff has signed off yet. So if he doesn't play on Saturday, I was wrong.
With that big break after Saturday's game, is that a good opportunity for you to sit down with Steve and kind of look at the roster where you are with the trade deadline not too far away?
Yes, it is, but it's it's nothing special because we do this. We just spent half hour talking hockey and teams and players and things like that. So we do that on a regular basis, almost daily. So this break isn't going to change a lot. There may be things that come up and that we discuss, but I don't think it's going to throw our routine out of whack at all.
Does it seem as though the natural thing would be for you guys to be buyers at the trade deadline this year? You earn that right to add some pieces that you might help you.
I'm not prepared to answer that question right now. That's a March question. I think the trade deadline's in March. I don't even know when it is.
March 7th.
Yeah, so a full month away. We got so much in front of us right now. So that's not a question I'm going to answer right now.
It's only 7 games or 8 games.
Is it?
Yeah, after Saturday.
Yeah. Well, when it gets down to 2 or 3, maybe we'll figure it out.
Todd, to win 4 in a row on the road, what does that tell you about where your team is at to be able to do something like that?
Those buildings, from being out west, those buildings are tough to play in. I would imagine it's like going to Boston here and some of those other Philly for this team. Those buildings are tough to play in. They're good teams. And to have won games in so many different ways. We won it without our power play. We won it with great goaltending. We won it with our power play with, above average goaltending, not great, but above average. Penalty kill, all that type of stuff. To do it in 4 different ways was pretty unique. The trip itself was special, but it's in the past now.